that is, developed specifically for those in communal living arrangements. We have a lot of those, and I think I've been impressed with how many people I know who have gotten the vaccine, but I start to get worried when I see those full ferries coming along.
The doctor.
So I remember at this time in Martha and Sven, we were here. We went, and is there anything that we need to do anything different, or are you just working with the town? I mean, first of all, let me backtrack on that for a second. We were flying blind last year. We had no idea. And I guess I'll take the opportunity to, thank the medical center and Dr. Clark and seamless transition that came with Tom. I don't think we could have done it, but
Yeah.
what's the plan for this summer?
So I certainly would appreciate if we were able to maintain a very similar stance. I think it's difficult to try to say that you can be outdoors as long as you can maintain 3 foot of distance. It's comes down to the same process of enforcement of any of those types of reactions or action items. The outdoors don't bother me as much as the indoors. So it's just because we haven't had any communication where we had the establishment submitting COVID action plans that then we would review and revise. I don't know if it's been asked of the community to reenact and maintain those for this summer season. I would certainly suggest that they work well. Enforcement of any of those. So it's the indoor facilities, communal living. I think the same process exists for us. I think we're getting a lot of, I'm starting to certainly see people within the medical center that are coming from out of state and out of country. And do we have a process to validate vaccinations and making sure they have the proper hookup for getting vaccinated if they're going to work here on the island through the vaccinateri.gov? Just haven't heard much communication about it. Just would like to stimulate that thought process.
So go ahead, Sven.
Well, I was going to say, Dr. Warkup, last year when we did this, we had some, I'll call them requirements, but maybe it was directional requests, including having a room for quarantine, having quarantine procedures. I mean, you remember that form. And I think all of the businesses that were specific to this reviewed those plans with you, and I think carried them out, to my knowledge, very, very well. I'm not sure that we necessarily need to go quite to that level where we were, i.e. have a dedicated quarantine room, et cetera. I leave that up to you. But I do think it would be appropriate that the businesses that have living conditions, or at least a large staff, check in with you, and that there is sort of a linkage and a coordination about a plan should somebody get sick or should something happen. I mean, it's sort of one of those good moments of caution. So I think as far as the congregate living, while I'm not sure we need to exactly follow last year, it seems to me very prudent to have something very similar from a communication point of view. Would you agree with that, Dr. Warkup?
I would. We're at the ready to help anybody talk through the process. I think a synopsis of what we felt last year was, I think there's somebody that has COVID, or somebody's been identified preliminarily as having COVID, and a very strong reaction. And the statement would be out of the abundance of caution. I think that led almost every print media put out that restaurants are closing, shops are closing, things of that nature. And I'd like to avoid that type of panic, because then that led to a pretty steady downstream flooding of phone calls of tangential communication or interaction with somebody that may have COVID, and I'd like to get tested. And it led to us really helping with the DMAT, getting them out here. So I would say this year, since we know a lot more and many people are vaccinated and we're much better skilled at it as a community, if you feel like there has been an exposure, reach out. We'll talk you through it. We'll come up with a concise plan together, and people don't have to automatically go to the suspension of business or suspension of any activity, let's talk first and we can make some decisions after that.
Thank you, Doc.
If I can, Andre, can I just follow one thing?
Okay.
Last year, there was sort of a letter that went out to the businesses, I think from you and the town manager, if I remember correctly, and maybe Bill McComb. And I just wonder if that letter to the businesses, all the businesses, specifically those with congregate living, should go out in the next week or two, just saying, sort of continuing, but in a form, let's just touch base and here are sort of the protocols. I think that would be appropriate, just to let everybody know what the rules, not rules, what the guidelines are.
Sure. I'll reach out to Chief McComb.
Keith, 1 second. I just wanted to follow up after Sven.
Yeah.
I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Sven. So what are the rules this year as opposed to last year? I remember there was, like Sven was saying, there was quarantine rooms. Are those rules still in effect, or with everything, with all the rules that are lightening up now, where do the rules stand as opposed to last year with this on this topic?
My sense of this is there should be at least a contingency. I still believe if you have an employee that's COVID positive, there's a very visceral response from the employee base and or the proprietors. I'd like for them to have at least thought about what they'd like to do with that individual. So if they can maintain that same process, I think it's fairly seamless. We're educated on how to do it now. If they can maintain their business practice that way, that would be helpful. I just fear that if we completely move the pendulum to the other side and then there is an event, there will be significant fear factor, and then no place to isolate an individual. And we now have a new issue that we could have prevented.
So I'm sorry, Keith, hang on. What I'm asking is, what are the state rules? What you're asking is what the suggestions are on the table are. Is this something above and beyond the state rules, or is this, do you understand?
What I've been identifying, I think the state's been fairly silent on this particular aspect. It's not so much the business practice, it's the congregate living. That's the concern I have. So I think we have both the state and local governance, but just the visceral reaction if it were to happen.
So would it help if we had maybe yourself and the town manager, like a joint letter to go to the businesses, just to ask, all these items of, just to check in with them, so to speak?
Sure. I just want them to be thinking about it. That's all. It's better to think about it now than in the moment.
Right. Much appreciated. Okay, Keith.
No, thank you. Those are all really important questions. I'm just wondering whether a letter to the businesses could ask whether they've adopted a policy around hiring folks with the vaccine, because we may find that some of these larger employers, adopted their own policies unbeknownst to us, saying, when you arrive here, you have to have had a vaccine. So, it would be helpful, and it would be helpful to know, if some of these large employers really wanted to, whether we could figure out a way to do, few hour vaccine clinic for some of these larger employers if anyone's fallen through the cracks. It just, I think there's no business that's going to want to have an outbreak, just like last year. And now they have at hand a tool to try to prevent that. And we should ask whether they've used it or required it.
Thank you, Keith. Mary Ann Crawford.
So to follow up on what Keith was just saying, just to let the council know, I received a phone call from Blake Filippi the end of last week. It said he had some dialogue with Governor McKee about the workers that are heading out to the island. And the governor was very much in favor of providing additional vaccines for the workers. Blake said, just get back to him and he'll see what we can do. And I said, we had the DMAT team, maybe we can use the DMAT team, and maybe they can do it a couple of days a week. So I did ask Lars to reach out to his folks via the chamber. And I need to follow up with that to see how many vaccines they are going to need or what the status is of that. I know one a particular business owner that was trying to do something on his own privately for his employees. So I think what you will be seeing is I think a lot of the employees are going to want, based on preliminary discussions, their folks to be vaccinated, either before they come to the island or once they come here. But I can follow up. I need to follow up with Lars on that as to numbers and also follow up with Representative Flippy in that regard.
Thank you for the information, Marianne. Much appreciated. Sven, go ahead.
Yeah, real quickly, the one change I would make from last year, Marianne, Dr. Workup, personally, is last year I think we required in the preparations a room held off specifically and dedicated to quarantine. And I guess I liked what Dr. Workup said, which was about a plan in place. There is a focus, the ability to, and I think, you know, as long as they have the plan in place, that's the most important versus room 17, or, you know, that they're prepared versus, you know, we don't have a dedicated room. So that would be my only change from last year, I guess, personally.
Thank you, Sven. I just want to know, I just want to call on Councilor Ball to see if Councilor Ball has any questions or comments on this topic. I think she's muted.
Yes.
Martha Ball.
Okay, I mute my own phone and then I get muted on top of that. Am I back?
Yes, you are. I was checking in to
Yeah.
see if you had any comments because as
No, my only comment, I'm not sure what just happened because I thought the manager and the doctor were going to send out a letter and now we're morphing. We're not sending out two letters, I certainly hope. Are we morphing these two ideas together? Because I do think the doctor and the manager have the most clout, honestly. And I would hope everybody would have people vaccinated before they get here. But if it feels like, and I was just looking for something on bulletin board that I saw, a bunch of people are, you know, sort of running off in 7 different directions here, which is the last thing we need in this town. And whatever can be coordinated through the town through the medical centers. I think obviously optimal. Good luck.
thank you, Martha.
Here.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. Anybody else council-wise? Questions for the doctor? I have a public hand up. 486-9960. If you could unmute and identify yourself and let us know what's on your mind.
Hi, it's Jess Willie. Can you hear me?
Yes, Jess.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to follow up on what the town manager said, and she may have missed an email, but the Tourism Council also had outreach from the Rhode Island Hospitality Association, who was looking to set up a vaccination clinic for hospitality workers, where they would come out for one day and vaccinate anybody who needed to be or wanted to be. At the same time, the town manager and Rep. Filippi were working with the chamber to work with businesses. So we're supposed to have a call tomorrow to just try to all coordinate and be on the same page. And the hope is that basically anybody who wants to be vaccinated, at least from the hospitality industry, will be able to be, before the season really gets started. So there's a couple things in the works, and like Martha just said, there was a lot of information that came through different silos, and we're all trying to get together now, so we're all on the same page, and hopefully that all works out, and we have a successful vaccination clinic, and anybody who wants to in the hospitality industry can do that. And that's all. Thank you.
That's great, Jess. Thanks for the information. Marianne? Your hands
I just want to ask Jess. I'm off island and I'm testifying tomorrow in court. I will hook up with you later So I am
Sounds
not
good.
going to reach out to the chamber or Blake or anything because it sounds like you're right. I think we've got 3 or 4 people maybe doing the same thing. So I'll just hook up with you when I'm back on the island and see if you need my assistance to facilitate anything as we move forward.
We'll definitely bring you in on the conversation and make sure you're all involved.
Thank you.
All right, so we have two, so we've discussed 2 topics here, congregate living and vaccinations. So I'm wondering if Dr. or Jess or Mary Ann, this is great news. This is the first I'm hearing about, the tourism and hospitality coming to the island. That should actually be the news of the day because, these are the questions people have been having. So I'm just kind of wondering if you could keep us updated on that because we obviously as council members will get questions on it also. And yeah, that's great. So then, all right, so then the congregate living, we are going to have Mary Ann and Dr. Walkup get together to maybe craft a letter to send to the businesses of Block Island, encouraging them to touch base with the doctor about congregate living situations and their housing for the summer. Am I missing anything? Anything else? Anybody like to add anything else to that? Anybody else have any more comments on the topic? Everybody's muted. All right. Next item on the agenda is discuss and act on a possible amendment to the emergency ordinance 3 of the town of New Shore adopted June 24th, 2020 masks as amended pertaining to the COVID-19 pandemic. Any discussion about masks? Sven, you're muted.
Sorry about that. So, we put this in place during quite a frenetic time. And boy, things have changed, right? Throughout the whole summer. And then recently the governor's changing things. And in reality, we're sort of following the state. I'm asking the question whether we still want to have this enacted or are we following the state? And I'm specific to the mask, June 24th.
Mary Ann Crawford.
So that's the main reason why I put this on the agenda is I think we need to make that determination, whether we want to continue with what we reenacted with this mask ordinance, or do we want to follow what the state? I'm inclined to follow what the state's doing because I think we're in a different place than we were a year ago. Well, the question I then have, if it's the council wishes to do that, is from a governance standpoint as to how procedurally we sunset.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Comments from the council? Go ahead, Keith. I think you're muted.
Yeah, thanks. I would like to hear what Dr. Workup thinks about a mask ordinance and his sense of whether you don't have to disagree with the state, but I've read enough of there's at least some concern that in some jurisdictions there's movement away from masks perhaps too quickly, and I'm open on it, but I'd like to get your sense of it, please.
I think clinically, following the state's guidelines makes a lot of sense. There are some things that we don't know about the variants of the coronavirus variants, so there could be easier transmissibility. I think that we generally just have to understand what that means is there will not be one person wearing a mask in the open door community walking around. So that's why I just think we have to feel that we're on the same page, that there will not be people wearing masks walking through the community when that gets lifted. I think scientifically it's not a problem. When they go indoors, that's certainly a different scenario. Then it becomes enforcement, it becomes perception. Just want to make sure we have that visual.
Thank you, Doctor. Martha? I'm just wondering if you have any comment because you disappear from my screen.
Yeah,
Can you be accommodating?
I mean, I think, can you hear me?
We can. Thank you.
Thanks. I feel like that old Verizon ad, or whatever phone company it was had. Yeah, I think the reason we went over to being with the state was just a matter of practicality and what we can actually do. I think we can certainly continue encouraging everybody to wear masks out here. Sometimes you get farther with encouragement than with, this is a law, even though nobody's enforcing it. I know people have had questions about the, the playground and all the kids coming in from who knows where. I think we ought to encourage probably more than it seems that the state is. I feel like every time the state talks, they're talking about everybody but Block Island and forgetting that we have, of course, the boat, which is I've always seen as a bottleneck and a concern, although it doesn't seem to have materialized yet, but doesn't mean it's not gonna. I think following the state is the most practical thing to do. It makes the most sense, but I would continue encouraging.
Thank you, Martha. I see Chief Moynihan is listening to us this evening, and obviously any decision we make on this will fall on that enforcement. Chief, I'm just wondering, and I thank you for being here. I'm wondering if you have any comment on this issue.
Thank you. No, I think on the enforcement end, I think we're just going to follow the leads of what the guidance from the state. And I know, the ferry and the visitors from outside that are coming to the island. But I think, as Dr. Warkup indicated, as best as we can, we have to ensure that people are following those recommendations and the guidelines that are set as we go forward. I think we've all seen in the news in the publications that are out there is that the outdoor, it's may not be so much of the concern, but it's the indoor activities. So, we would continue to stress and encourage the face coverings while indoors as the guidelines have been established.
I certainly appreciate that. It seems that's going to make the most sense right now. I have we voiced concerns because we knew where we were with this last year. And it is a different, we're a lot better than we were back then, but I think tonight's conversation, go ahead, Dr. Walcott.
Maybe a part of the conversation that Jessica Woolley has with the chambers, my concern would be that if in the previous model, all people had masks with them to put on and off, don on and off when they went indoors, we have to anticipate that there'll be many people that had not anticipated bringing a mask or having a mask before they went indoors. So maybe the state can provide PPE for venues to have it, so they have more than they would have had last year, given that mostly everyone had a mask. So they may have to offer it more often than they did in the previous year. Possibly the state or the DMAT or EMA can offer those masks available.
Thank you, Doctor. You mentioned DMAT. I did want to ask you on the other topic. I think it's still relevant. How this testing will be going on indefinitely now until a set date. This is going to still be happening. Fire barn, that's going to keep going on. Because I remember we had a discussion about the state turning their attention more toward vaccines rather than testing. But I just want to make sure that we're on the subject that, testing will continue. And I just want to confirm, if how long that will be, or if it's indefinite, or.
I can confirm that will be indefinite. It really has felt that through this entire process, DMAT has become more comfortable about what's possible for them on Block Island. Every time we go into these things, it was, I don't know if we can do testing, to now they're very comfortable with testing. We're not sure how much we can do for vaccine, and now they're doing more than ever. So now they're doing both testing and vaccinations, and potentially doing it on 2 different days of the vaccinations, Tuesday and Thursday. So I think they've become very comfortable. They've been a terrific partner, and they're going to keep it up indefinitely.
Okay, that's great. And, my mind's clicking now. So I'm just, can I just return to vaccine for 1 second? Because I'm wondering, I'm just hearing, the Restaurant Association, and I heard on the news before I came in tonight that, all pharmacies, not all pharmacies, but a lot of the pharmacies are now offering walk-in service without an appointment for vaccines. And if we have the service industry is going to come out and do clinics, I'm just wondering if there's any chance that the medical center would be able to just have the walk-in for the residents for vaccines. Is there any chance that the medical center would be getting vaccines?
We could certainly talk about it. There's no effort in place now. The difficulty for us still is the quantity. Once the vials come in multi-dose vials, and the vials are only good for 5 hours once you puncture them. So for DMAT, they're coming with a limited quantity that when they're done, where the pharmacy, I think they're building their model of, yes, you can walk in, but you may have to wait until there's a critical enough mass where they can open up another bottle. So it is true, but there is nuance to it, that you can walk up, but you may have to be in a waiting zone, a wait list zone. So for us to do it, we'd have to get collections of 10 at a time, which makes it more difficult.
Oh, much appreciate you clarifying that. Okay. So masks, I'm just wondering, we'll keep up on we have signs in town that may be inaccurate at one point. I mean, if we're going to do a outreach and encouragement, we'll keep an eye on those. But I see this conversation as just the start. I really think that, as we go on, things can change, just like COVID did all along. I think that right now I'm on board with the advice I'm getting from staff and whatnot. But again, we can keep this on an agenda, and if things seem to go worse, we can change this at any time. Sven, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, real quickly, because I just want to clarify, right? What I sort of heard was going more with the state, but I like Martha's point of reinforcing the mask and making sure that we continue to communicate the right thing. And I guess one of the things Marianne said is, do we want to at least start to plan or think through a sunsetting of this? Because right now the ordinance does talk about 6 feet. I mean, it's just different enough that we've all seen what happens when there's sort of confusion. And so, in my opinion, I guess I think we should again encourage masks. Nobody's taking the pressure off, but just make sure we're in line so that as the chief goes to enforce, there's not sort of, I don't want to use the word conflicting, but there's just different numbers out there that creates confusion, which therefore makes enforcement harder. So I guess we can raise it at the next meeting, but given that it's sort of rolling into June pretty quickly, I wonder whether we shouldn't at least get closer to where the state is, just to avoid confusion while still reinforcing good healthcare, which is the mask, distancing, and washing of hands.
Thank you, Sven. And I agree. I just think that, like I said, this is an opening conversation about this. Anybody, I'm hoping, it's a public discussion. And I would encourage the public to give us their ideas on how they feel about that. Because, like I said, we are going to go, we didn't have that in May last year.
No.
We got it like a brick wall in July, that's for sure. But it's all about being prepared, and the conversation can be fluid. We're working with the chief, the medical center, the town manager, and I think we're in a good place on this. We won't make it, we'll just keep the discussion open. I think I do agree with what everybody's saying, though. Go ahead, Keith.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I actually think the conversation that Jess and Marianne and Dr. Warkup and Chief Moynihan are talking about, again, we may find that the businesses are extraordinarily well prepared for this. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if, that at least many, if not most, already have policies that they're going to be implementing. And it just would be helpful to know that, because that would guide what we want to do in terms of, as Martha says, encouraging particular types of behavior.
That, and I'll say that, residents get concerned and, they ask, and it would just be good for us to know, so we would have an answer for them so people don't assume. So I think that's all, that's my feeling on that. Martha, any comments?
No more than I already had. I just think it's really coordination is really important. I'm just afraid people are going to go all over the map, and I'm seeing it. If anybody's on bulletin board, they're seeing it. We just got to keep centralizing that. I know it goes against everybody's nature out here to work together, but they've got to do it. And it sounds like the Tourism Council is working toward that. I think the Chamber's working toward that. And there's no reason for this to be, and particularly if you've got this finite number of vaccines from once you puncture a vial, that's all the more reason for everybody, please just work together. Stop going off on your own.
Appreciate that, Martha. Any more comments? Does the doctor have anything? Mary Ann, counsel? Seeing none. Is there any comments on this topic from the public this evening? All right, seeing none. Dr. Walkup, much appreciated as usual. Thank you so much. The next item on the agenda is the Town Council meeting as the Board of Licensed Commissioners. A is to receive and act on an application for transfer of Class BV liquor license from Champlin's Trader Vic's Inc. stockholders Joseph Grillo and Susan Grillo, doing business as Champlin's Trader Vic's, to Great Salt Pond Marina Manager, LLC member. TPG Hotels and Resorts Incorporated, doing business as Champlin's Hotel Marina Resort, West Side Road, Plat 19, Lot 5 and 6. I'm wondering if there's anybody from the audience this evening representing TPG, Champlin's Marina Manager.
Yeah, this is Michael Hartman.
Hi, Michael Hartman. Hold on one second. I appreciate that. I have a hand up over here. It's a 1-617-216-3900. If you could unmute yourself and identify and let us know what's on your mind.
Hi, this is Ron Hadar. I'm the General Counsel of TPG Hotels and Resorts and representing the proposed transferee on the license application.
Thank you, Ron. Thanks for joining us this evening. Thank you, Michael. Thanks for being here. Before us, we have an application for a transfer of liquor license from basically Trader Vic's to the new owners of Champlin's. Does council have any questions, comments?
Hi, it's Ron Hadar again. But before we start, I just want to advise the council and the members of the public that we are. I know you haven't gotten to it, but we have a couple other applications here tonight, including the extended hours for the liquor license. And I just want everyone to know that we are withdrawing at this moment the application for the extended hours and don't want to act on that.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Of course.
Okay, so with that being, go ahead. Do you have anything else?
And just, I had a brief introduction about TPG Hotels and Resorts. If the council wants some background, I'm happy to provide that. But of course, it's your hearing. Let me know how you'd like to proceed.
Take your time, all the time you need, Ron and Michael. We would love to hear anything you would like to tell us this evening.
Sure. So, as you know, over the winter time, our affiliate, Great Salt Pond Marina Property, purchased the property from the Grillo family. We have been, as I'm sure many people know, spending a great deal of time on the island and a great deal of money, trying to get ready for this season and, putting as much as we can into the property to really make it a first-class destination for tourists and for the community, and also just to bring up the level of service and safety at the property, fixing many years of deferred maintenance, and our goal is to make it a first-class resort on Block Island that the whole community will be proud of. In terms of our experience with liquor licenses, we are a national coast-to-coast hotel operator. We've held liquor licenses in probably, 43 of the 50 states in the United States. you've run restaurants, bars, big meeting events, convention centers. So we have quite a deep bench to assist in ensuring compliance with all applicable liquor laws. We have in-house trainers for tip certification and serve safe certification, and we'll do what is necessary to ensure that everybody adheres with all regulations and laws with respect to the service of alcohol at the resort. So we're hoping that the board will, the council rather, will look on our application favorably, and we're looking forward to being a valued member of the community for many years to come here. We're really excited about this season and really excited about the opportunity of what we're going to be able to do with Champlins moving forward.
Well, Ron and Michael, welcome to the community. It's much appreciated that you, that you're here. You're cleaning. It looks really great down there, and I've seen the plans, and it's long overdue, I would say, but certainly appreciate it. Council, have any questions? Hearing none.
Andre, I have one question.
Go ahead, Martha.
Is the area of service the same as it's been?
Sorry, the liquor service.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
it's the same 3 areas that were approved before.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay, and could you delineate them for us, please?
Ron, you want me to take that?
Yeah, you can. Yep.
Yeah, so there's three areas. The what used to be known as Trader Vic's, we're now calling that the Pier 76 Dock Bar. What recently has been the Block Island Oyster Bar, we're now calling that internally the Galley House, and then also the Cafe Boutique area, which is the little coffee shop area down near, sort of at the head of the pier.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Sven Riesem?
Yep. Just a quick question. Are those 3 areas delineated? I know that right now the drawing has basically the whole property, including the whole dock, noted within the liquor license. So based on the visual that I'm looking at here of the service area, in theory, there could be I guess, a rolling bar down the dock. I don't think that's your intention from what you just said. And I like those 3 spots because they're traditional, but just making sure.
Yeah, so that's where the pours will occur at those 3 areas. The liquor service is the entire delineated area, just as it's been in the past.
It's the property.
Thank you.
Just
Somebody else. Good, Sven? Okay. I'm going to continue the motion, and then I'll take questions. A motion would be in order to grant a transfer of a Class BV liquor license, Champlins Trader Vic Inc., stockholders Joe Grillo and Susan Grillo, doing business as Champlins Trader Vic, to Great Salt Pond Marina Manager LLC member, TPG Hotels and Resorts Incorporated, doing business as Champlins Hotel Marina and Resort, West Side Road, Plat 19, Lot 5 and 6, pending a receipt of licensing fee, clearance from the Department of Health, and to further require that the correction of any fire code violations and that the food be available at a sandwich level as opposed to offering solely snack foods during all times alcoholic beverages are sold. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Sven. There are some questions from the public, I believe, and I just want to make sure the council has no more questions or comments.
Yeah, I have another question.
Go ahead, Martha Ball.
Yeah, routinely we have, for a place that isn't going to be open all winter, permission to be closed for a certain time. Am I confusing that with something else?
No, you're correct.
Yeah. Wow.
Am I missing that here? Or are you just not requesting it?
So, Martha, would you explain that to the applicants? I'm not,
Generally speaking, a lot of our places are seasonal, and they request permission to be closed from, and I think it's a liquor license. Is Millie on this?
I don't see her.
Because she usually has the answer to the liquor question.
Millie's not on, but that's correct, Martha.
And normally, if you're closed from, Columbus Day to Memorial Day, you have to be closed from, November 1st to, May 1st or something like that.
That's right. It's usually part of
And I don't
motion.
know if that's required or if that's just something that people do. And it would seem it must be required, or people wouldn't be asking for it. But I don't honestly know the answer.
Okay, hold on one second. Just to clarify that, I'm going to ask Kathy Marola. She's on this evening. If that's a requirement to a transfer or any sort of liquor license.
Right now, we're not issuing the liquor licenses. All we're doing is approving a transfer.
So this was the rules that were already in place for the previous
Yes.
one would apply.
So,
Okay,
so
good.
everything that was in place on the previous liquor license will carry over. When it comes time for them to renew their license, then that language will be applied as it is to all the liquor license.
Okay, great. Thanks very much.
And thank you,
You're
Martha.
welcome.
And thank you, Kathy. So that is a legal requirement in our ordinances with the liquor licenses, is to ask to be closed during that time.
All right, and so assuming the transfer gets approved, when the renewal occurs, we'll deal with it at that time, correct?
Correct.
Excellent.
All right, so motion.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Motion has been made and seconded. There's a public comment. I believe there's a hand up from 1-646-523-2399. If you could unmute and identify yourself and let us know what's on your mind.
Yeah, hi, this is Eric Elwell. Thanks for letting me speak. Yeah, just wanted to ask a question of the new owners. Are you still planning on expanding the marina? And if you do get that approval, would you move the new Trader Vic's out even farther into the harbor?
Eric Elwell, this is a liquor hearing, has nothing to do with that topic. I would certainly say that they wouldn't have to answer that, but if they wished to, they could, but that's not the agenda item of the evening.
In terms of the expansion of the marina, that in our transaction with Mr. Grillo was still left in his court. And I understand that's in litigation right now and it's sort of stopped at the Supreme Court. So, that is all, what may happen or may not happen. And so we have not thought through, moving of Trader Vic's or whatever in connection with that. So that's about the best I could answer that. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you for the question. 617-216-3900. I think that's you, Ron.
No, that's me. Yeah, that's Ron Hadar.
Molly, the clerk, give her a second. I just want to have you, can you label him? Could you spell your last name for the clerk so we have it on record, Ron?
Of course. It's Ron Hadar, H-A-D, like David, A-R.
Thank you so much. Your phone number. Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, Martha?
Aye.
Keith?
Yes.
Sven?
Yes.
I approve. Mark is absent this evening. The motion will carry 4-0. Next item on.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Don't go anywhere. Receiving.
I'm not.
Andre?
Yes, Martha Ball.
Andre? Just make one reference, and this maybe is a point of information, that we appreciate you withdrawing the extended hour request. And that's not a license that has been granted in this town for any establishment in quite a number of years. And I hope the applicants would be aware of that.
Yeah, we appreciate that. At the time of the application, I think somebody in my legal department, saw the box on the form and checked it. And we weren't aware, and when it was brought to our attention, we said, oh, geez, no, we're not interested in that. That's fine.
Okay, thanks very much.
You bet. Thank you.
Much appreciated. So we're going to skip B. That's going to be stricken from the agenda. It's been removed. So C, receive and act on the application for a new outdoor entertainment license from Great Salt Pond Marina Manager, LLC member TPG Hotels and Resorts Incorporated, doing business as Champlin's Hotel, Marina and Resort, West Side Road, Plat 19, lots 5 and 6. I trust council has read the documents and any comment? Any comments from the council? Go ahead, Keith.
I'd like Michael to give us a sense of his vision of how this outdoor entertainment license is going to become significantly less disruptive than it has been over the years, because it's not just a matter of neighbors who have houses nearby, but I can tell you, having worked on the pond for the last couple of summers, the noise there at night, particularly with the outdoor entertainment, has been quite disruptive. I've had routinely people who want to be moved off of moorings adjacent to Champlin's because of the noise. I think this one's a bit more of a challenge for me. I have no problem transferring the permits, but I got a problem with this one.
Thanks, Keith. Anybody else? Any comments from the council? Motion would be.
Could we have an explanation of what they're planning to do? I know we have an application.
This is Mike Hartman. I can speak to that. So we've actually been very aware of those challenges and concerns from the beginning, and it's been a big part of our thinking as to the experience that we want to provide, not just, and I think I could probably back up a little bit. We're in the marina business first and foremost. I mean, we do have hotel rooms, which is going to be a big part of what we do, and food and beverage and the entertainment that goes along with it. But we've dramatically shifted the way we want to host our boaters specifically. We've dramatically shifted rates. We will no longer be rafting, all to the end of creating just a much better experience for, first and foremost, the core of our business, which are boaters. And that then leads to the entertainment and the quality and what that entertainment is like on the docks and how it affects people on their boats first and foremost, and then secondarily, but just as importantly, our neighbors both out in the pond and up in the hills around us. So we are shifting significantly the type of music that we'll be hosting. It's going to be, instead of sort of larger cover bands later in the evening or later in the night, actually, we are focusing on happy hour, sunset, sort of singer-songwriter type music. That'll, right now the program there is a couple nights a week, really focusing on a sunset, early evening atmosphere, toning that down, turning it over to, more program music, jukebox, just music that comes out of a sound system. And then on the hours of operation, our intent is to, again, we're keenly intent on maintaining and growing the revenue that bar can have, but hopefully doing more of that during day and evening hours, so that we start to close things down outside, around 10:30. Obviously, post-COVID and all of the challenges that presents, bring the later evening hours, and we're talking about from 10:30 to, say 11 or so, bringing it inside the bar, and then really being done with the evening by midnight. We've actually decided to forego one of the holiday parties, which was a New Year's event, because we knew that would take it into hours, well beyond sort of an acceptable time period for festivities. So that's kind of one, that's a synopsis, but there's a lot of thought and thinking into our programming and how we do that, so that one, we're dramatically improving, in our opinion, and we believe our voters' opinions of the experience on the docks for the folks that we're working to, charge a fair amount of money for, and then secondarily how we affect the community around us. So that's a short synopsis of a lot of effort and thought that's gone into where Champlins goes as an experience related to entertainment, food and beverage, and the overall resort experience.
Thank you, Michael. Sven, I see you. Go ahead, Sven.
Michael, thank you for that, and I appreciate it. Like Keith, or not like Keith, but I spent a lot of time on the pond, and unfortunately, there is a history, and unfortunately, there have been a lot of people upset, both land-based and water-based. And what you described sounds pretty perfect to me in the sense of opportunities, and it is a very small community. The one thing, Michael, that you and I have not met, but I do encourage you is to sometimes this summer, drive around to Breezy Point, which is sort of right across the harbor from you, and it is amazing how much you can hear from Champlins or from the marina side, all the way across the pond, down to Andy's Way. The sound travels across open water so much, and up into the hills. And I do think that this, to me, is going to be a pretty critical element to changing the marina the way you've described it, and sort of going for that no rafting, higher end, higher rate type of clientele and type of base. So I hope that all can happen. I take everybody on their word for that, and I wish you good luck in that. But unfortunately, there is a lot of history that one has to overcome, and understanding that, I think, is very important. Thanks.
Thank you, Sven.
Andre?
Go ahead, Kathy Merlin.
The application itself is describing the type of entertainment as soloists or duets performing background type music, no bands or lights. If that is the intention, then there's no reason that cannot be a requirement of the outdoor entertainment license. I assume no one has any objection in terms of the applicant side.
Yep, we're okay with that.
I would, Kathy kind of took the words out of my mouth, because I was also going to say, if you only intend to do it till sunset, are you comfortable with the provision that the live entertainment stops at sunset? As you said.
I think that the sort of the type of music we're doing, and that it's not going to be bands and it won't be lit up. I'm just at this point where we're just sort of starting and trying to feel our way of how we're planning to do it. I wouldn't want to limit the hours where we're already highly limiting what kind of music we're doing. So we would prefer to have some flexibility, where people might still enjoy relaxing with some sort of nice singer-songwriter type music, even a little bit later than sunset.
Thank you, Ron. Keith, follow up?
Yeah, I was sort of.
There is a. I'm sorry. There is a 9 p.m. limitation, anyways, in the application.
Thank you. All right, Keith.
Nope. Go ahead.
You didn't finish. You good? You're all set, Keith?
Yeah, I don't think I need any more answer than I've gotten. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I was going to point that out, that the application is very clear about what's allowed down there. I'm just, I don't have any, comment on it. It's been going on down there, and I do know, all I can say is that, good luck to the applicant, because, you obviously heard the concerns of the community, and believe me, you will hear them if they, if your music's 1 decibel over. But I mean, those are in there, and there's no there's no reason for me to believe that you're going to work outside of those. And I just, I welcome you down there. I think it needs to be, revamped, and I think you're on your way to that. And we appreciate that. So I think a motion would be in order to grant a new outdoor entertainment license in accordance with the Town of New Shoreham ordinances and the application on file to Great Salt Pond Marina Manager LLC member, TPG Hotels and Resorts Incorporated, doing business as Champlin's Hotel Marina and Resort, West Side Road, Plat 19, lots 5 and 6.
Second.
Excuse me,
So moved.
Andre.
Go ahead, Kathy Murillo.
I would just ask, well, if it's your intention, that the motion also add the restriction that the type of entertainment be limited to soloists or duets performing background type music, no bands or lights.
I'll amend my motion to include the motion be in order to grant a new outdoor entertainment license in accordance with from ordinances. One second.
Second. Did,
I'm not done. I'm not done. Hang on a second. I'm just pulling the application up on ClerkBase so I can make sure that that wording is done. I have it in front of me, but grant a new outdoor entertainment license in accordance with the Town of New Shoreham ordinances and the application on file to the Great Salt Pond Marina Manager LLC member, TBG Hotels and Resorts Incorporated, doing business as Champlin's Hotel Marina and Resort, West Side Road, Plot 19, lots 5 and 6. And the entertainment limited to soloists or duets, background type music, no bands or lights.
Okay, Andre?
Do I have a second?
No, you there's something in the motion that I think you might want to fix.
What is it?
It's only lot 5 for the outdoor entertainment license,
Okay.
according to their application.
Well,
Lot 9
is that,
is with the application.
is that absolutely correct? Is that what the application states? Because
That's what the application says.
okay, bear with me one more time. Motion be in order to grant a new outdoor entertainment license in accordance with the Town of New Shoreham ordinances and the application on file to Great Salt Pond Marina Management Incorporated, LLC member TPG Hotels and Resorts Incorporated, doing business as Champlin's Hotel Marina Resort, West Side Road, Plat 19, Lot 5. Hang on, let me get that back in. With the stipulation that only soloists or duets are performed, background type music, no bands or lights. Do I have a second?
Do you want to have to continue the on the dock near the bar with light amplification?
I'm sorry.
That's in the application. It also says on